Hi, I am Rebecca Smith here for Q&A with Coach Rebecca. It's Monday, 4:30 Pacific, and here we go. So I will be here each week answering questions. The first priority goes to the Perform Happy community members. That is my online mental toughness training community. So when they send me a question, it gets bumped to the top of the list. But anybody can send me a question to Rebecca@performhappy.com. And today I've got kind of a theme of fear or mental blocks, which is basically always the theme around complete performance coaching, because that is my own personal demon. It's where most of my clients find themselves stuck, is in this place where the mind won't let the body do what the body is capable of doing, basically. So sometimes it's I'm doing a skill, no problem, all the time, it's great, boom, hit a wall, something happens, I can't do it anymore. Sometimes it's I've been nervous from the beginning and now sometimes I can do it, sometimes I can't, I get scared, sometimes it's a confident day, sometimes it's not, and it's like this back and forth. So I've got a couple of questions that are kind of similar, kind of different, but it all kind of links in on this mind-body connection thing, which is what I specialize in. So just a little background if it's your first time meeting me. I am a high-performance coach. I specialize in helping athletes age 8 to 18 strengthen the mind-body connection so that they can perform at their very best when it matters most. And I do this in a couple ways. One is through one-on-one Skype or FaceTime coaching, and the other is through the online Perform Happy community, where people get access to courses on things like overcoming fear, building confidence, finding flow. You get unlimited Q&A with me, and a community of other people going through what you're going through. So first question, because a lot of people know I was a gymnast. So she asked, when you were a gymnast, did you ever do a skill awesomely, then the next day can't do it, then the next day can, then the next two can't, etc. It's really annoying with my flyaways. I competed them all last year, got first place on it in about 3 to 5 competitions, but all of a sudden I can't do it without my coach standing by my side. Can you help with this? It is super silly and annoying to everyone. So there's a couple of things here. First, yes, the answer is yes. This was my back walkover on the beam and my round off back handspring back tuck. There were days when it was fine, it was great, it was, confident, no problem, and there were days when it just wasn't happening. I couldn't get myself to do more than a round off sometimes. So this is not, we call it fear, but it's not really fear. It's that the body is capable, but the mind stops you from going. So I'm gonna talk about the 4 different layers of fear. I kind of think about fear as like an onion, how you've got multiple layers and you can't just address one, which is why a lot of the time people go, I got it back, I lost it, I got it back, I lost it, because maybe they're addressing the physical part, but they're not addressing the mental part or the emotional part or the spiritual part. There's all these different parts to the complete athlete, and if you're missing one, then you can have this back and forth thing going on. And then I'm also going to talk about the solution to fear or mental blocks. So I'll give you kind of a general overview of all the things that I work with kids on that help them get out of this back and forth stuck place. So first we'll talk about the layers of fear. So I think there's 4. We can break it down, but generally there are 4. Physical, mental, social, emotional, and spiritual. So the physical part is you've got to rebuild and strengthen motor skills. So when you learn any skill, you have to learn it in chunks. You have to build up from, building your strength, building your flexibility, connecting pieces together, learning it through drills, and then you get it. And when you first get it, you really have to think about it. Like, okay, I have to do this with my arms and this with my legs, and you really have to focus in. So you're doing it, but it takes a lot of thought and a lot of effort. Then with enough repetitions, you get to the point where you don't have to think that much and you just kind of do it. And then you've clicked into this automation stage. Now that's when everything's great. It's like, think kip, do kip. Don't have to think like jump and arms and grab and feet, and you just get up and go. That's where we all want to be with our skills, right? Because then you just go out, you compete, your skills happen, and it's awesome. Now that's the mental blocks hit in skills you've already got automated, because all of a sudden your brain's like, wait, what do I do? And you're like, I don't remember. I haven't had to think about this skill in so long, that it becomes confusing, it becomes stressful, and you almost have to relearn it in order to identify what's important and what's missing. So that's the physical layer, that if something gets disrupted, you kind of have to relearn it physically. So then we've got the mental part, and this is thinking. This is the images you see in your mind. This is what you have automated, as far as a lot of people don't realize that they automate certain thoughts, certain focuses, certain things that you're paying attention to. So once you've got it automated, you don't really realize, and then something goes sideways and you're like, whoa, what am I supposed to think? What am I supposed to do? And you have to have a strategy. Some of the strategies work and some of the strategies don't work. Like, for example, I just worked with a figure skater who was thinking automatically in one part of her program, I'm so tired, I'm so tired, I'm so tired. And then that's the part that she'd get really stressed out about. So I'd go, well, maybe we'll have a new thing to think there instead of I'm so tired. So for you, if you are feeling stuck in a certain skill, you might check in with, what am I automatically thinking there? Oh gosh, it's going to be hard, or I hope I don't fall, or oh, I'm not sure about this. You might be actually automatically thinking something not helpful without realizing it. So the next layer is social and emotional. Now this one's huge. So this goes with a couple of other questions. So I'll read those now actually, because it relates. So here's one. This question may be related to your post about athletes feeling down on themselves. My daughter has recently gone through a pretty big growth spurt. Unfortunately, toward the end of her level 7 season, her floor and vault skills have regressed. She used to place in the top 5 on vault and in the all-around. At state, she missed medaling in the all-around by a quarter of a tenth. Needless to say, it has been frustrating for everyone, most of all her. Some of her friends have even commented to her about why her switch leaps are so bad, why she can't vault. Her coaches are confused about why these regressions are happening. They're not mean or condescending, but how can we help, and how can she help herself through this awkward time? So obviously there's some physical stuff there. The growth spurt, that goes into the physical layer, because if it doesn't feel the same, because your body has different center of gravity and different growth, you have to relearn the skill for your new body, even though you should be able to do the skill. But there's also the social part. She's got coaches that don't understand and teammates that are like, why are those so bad? Oh my gosh, what? And they think that they're being funny, or they think that whatever, they just don't think. And it can really get to the heart. So if you allow things like that, like the fear of what will people think, or comments, to get to you, that can really get in the way of that mind-body connection too. So then we've got this other question about, I have districts this weekend, but I have a block on my round off back handspring back tuck. I need to get it by districts. What should I do to build up my confidence? So this falls into both the mental and the physical. So we've got mental, which is pressure. Pressure is one of the main causes of a mental block, that I have to get it by this weekend. I have to go for it now. And it's probably the biggest enemy of confidence, because if you are so stressed about getting something done in a certain amount of time, I've found that you actually reset your chances of getting through the mental block. So here's a quick example that I like to give about how fear works. And if the mental block you're dealing with is fear, I like to think of it like if you were afraid of an elevator. You know, there are people who have phobias of elevators. And the way that somebody overcomes a fear of an elevator is not by being thrown into the elevator and then sent to the basement. It's by easing in over time, little by little. They call it systematic desensitization. So the thing that you're afraid of, you slowly fade it in, and then you get a little more comfortable. You slowly do a little more, you get a little comfortable. You do a little more, you get comfortable. If there was a competition tomorrow for elevator riding and you were currently terrified of riding an elevator, you probably wouldn't want to do that competition, because if you were to throw yourself in and go to the basement like, I got to get it done by tomorrow, it really just doubles the fear and prevents you from getting done what you need to get done. So instead, you kind of had to take the pressure off. So this is part of the solution. This is me kind of moving into the solution phase. So let's see, finally one other question about, a coach was asking about parents causing pressure, the onlookers. So that's that social layer. So this is my long way of explaining that there are 4 different layers. If you don't address them all, it's not going to be a lasting change. So physical, mental, social, emotional, that's friends, coaches, family, and spiritual. So here is the solution. So I've got 6 steps here that basically lead into the solution for a mental block. And the first one is understanding the fear and the perfectionism. So for this, I actually did a training not that long ago, and there's a recording of it. If you want to click the link, it's completeperformancecoaching.com/fear. If you go there, you can sign up to see the replay of the training I did all on perfectionism and fear. So the first 5 minutes are silent. So just know if you go in, you're not like, it's not working. Just go in, sit through the first 5 minutes, and then you'll see a whole training on overcoming fear and perfectionism. So that's the first thing, is you kind of have to understand, like the elevator, you have to understand what fear is, why it comes up, more about the mind-body connection, and how being a perfectionist really contributes to getting stuck like this. The second step is learning how to bounce back when it hits. And now I also go over this in that fear training, that you have to know if it doesn't go as planned, or if you show up one day and it's there and you can't go, what do you do next? So you're not going, I hope I don't get afraid. I hope I don't get afraid, because then you're tense and you're way more likely to get afraid. So if you're like, okay, if I show up and today is not a good day and I'm a little bit scared here, or this isn't going well, then this is what I do next. And then you have a plan, and then you don't get as scared because you're not having fear of fear running the show. Step 3 is to stop failing and start succeeding. I know, wouldn't it be great if that was like just the answer? Don't fail anymore, start succeeding. Well, here's what I mean by that. It's like you have this bank, this confidence bank that you're filling up. So every time you fail, every time you try that flyaway and it doesn't work, you're taking money out of the bank. You're spending money, your confidence is going down. Every time you do a drill, or you get a spot, or you do some progression in the direction of that skill, you're putting money in the bank. You're succeeding. If you're trying a skill on the floor and you're not doing the whole skill, but you're doing part of it intentionally and you're succeeding, you're putting money in the bank. In the bank. Every time you do something that you set out to do, you're getting money in the bank. Every time that you fail, you're taking money out. So you have to kind of cut off the failing. If you keep failing over and over and over on something, stop it. Try something else. And this can be really hard for perfectionists and for people who are like, I should have this skill. I should have done this already. I'm supposed to have it by this weekend. I have to just keep trying. Then you keep failing and failing. Your bank is on empty. Your mood goes down. Your confidence is gone. And you've not moved forward at all. Versus you fail twice and go, okay, I got to try something else. Keep the confidence you have in your bank. Do some drills, get a spot, get a mat, come back tomorrow, do it on the tumble track, build up confidence elsewhere. And then you can come back fresh and try it again. And then the success you get builds confidence and is more lasting. So that's 3. 4, build confidence. So it kind of feeds right into that. And there are a lot of different ways to build confidence. I did a whole talk on that a couple weeks ago. The main things I teach in my Perform Happy community course on fear are, we do imagery. We do a lot of imagery. It's taking care of the thinking. A lot of it is building success, noticing how you think, what's working, what's not working, and having a plan to continually every day build more confidence. Number 5, learn how other people play a part. So that's how to communicate with your coaches, how to let things go that are not helping you. Are your parents causing you stress? We can figure that out. Your teammates, how can you communicate with your teammates? Are you the one who's actually bringing you down with the way that you're talking to yourself, communicating with yourself? So figuring out how you and other people play a part in the fear is important. And then finally, the number 6 from the course I have in the Perform Happy community is getting your heart in the game. And that's going from what's not going well to what is, and why do you love it, and why do you do it. Once your heart kind of clicks in and you get the desire factor going again, that's when you can overcome a lot of these blocks and fears. So that's kind of my process. I have a whole course on fear in the Perform Happy community. And I also work with kids one-on-one all the time through this exact process. So if anybody has questions, please feel free to reach out, Rebecca@performhappy.com, and send me your questions. Let me know what I can do for you. And I'm sending you the best of luck. For those of you who are feeling stuck, there's lots of hope. All right, I'll see you guys next week.